The EP Podcast. Heard everywhere podcasts can be found, and always at theeppodcast.com.
All right, Nikki, 7 years old. What do you want for Christmas this year? What did you ask for?
I want a lot of war stuff.
War stuff?
Yes.
What do you mean war stuff? What kind of war stuff?
Like helicopters, plastic tanks, troops.
Like army guys?
Yeah.
That's what you're looking for.
I want to create D-Day.
You don't see a lot of kids that are looking to create D-Day over again. You know? It was like 80 years ago. You're into D-Day.
Yes.
All right, so you want army guys, you want helicopters, you want tanks, you want landing craft, you want
planes.
Planes. What kind of planes?
Army planes, like
Right.
some hovering planes or stuff like that.
Anything else? That's it?
I want a Nintendo Switch.
You want a Nintendo Switch? So
I want
army guys and a Nintendo Switch.
I also want an iPad because our other iPad doesn't really work.
It feels like it's getting more expensive as I ask you more questions.
Wow. Just wow.
All right, this episode of the EP Podcast brought to you by the First National Bank of Evergreen Park. Heck, they sponsor every episode of the EP Podcast. Found everywhere podcasts can be found and always at the eppodcast.com. 2.5% statement savings special. They're giving 3% on an 11-month CD, 3.25 on a 26-month CD. And they have that total access checking account where you get free ATMs nationwide and a $300 bonus with qualifying activities. Paired with their mobile banking tools and award-winning customer service, switching to a true community bank has never been easier. Start banking locally today. BankEvergreenPark.com/300. $100 required to open. Walk into that iconic building at 95th and Pulaski and ask them more about it. Member FDIC. Nick has a book here with a song that he wants to share with you before the show is over. I figure, what the heck, it's the holiday season. But our main guest on the show, you heard part of her interview with me if you listen to Southside Pod. It's another podcast out of the Broadcast Basement On-Demand Radio Network. I don't normally double up the interviews and put the same thing on two different shows, but Colleen Klimczak killed it. So I put a little bit of what you're going to hear on this episode of the EP Podcast on Southside Pod. Don't worry, though. If you heard Southside Pod, there's so much more up ahead here in this 30 minutes of good with our guest, Colleen Klimczak. How are you, Colleen?
I am great. Thanks so much for having me back. I'm excited.
If you don't remember Colleen, she is a professional organizer. Easiest way to describe what she does. Peace of Mind Professional Organizing is her company. Her new podcast being produced here in the Broadcast Basement. A couple of episodes out by now. There's going to be one every week. We're expecting it out on Tuesdays. Your Organized Life. You can get it on any podcast player. All right. Or you can go to your website to get it. What's your website?
peaceofmindpo.com.
Okay, there you go. And it's great because, first of all, you podcast quicker than I do. Like, I'm a 30-minute show. You're 8. You're an 8-minute show. Sometimes you get up to 10, and that's a long one for you. So you're very easy to consume. So, like, if you've subscribed to the EP Podcast, throw Colleen's Your Organized Life in there. And I've already, like, changed, like, 4 or 5 things about how I run my company because of you.
I love it.
Like, if you sign up online at the eppodcast.com and put your email in for, like, things that we're doing and reminders, now my newsletter is far more involved.
Love it.
And it has all kinds of extra stuff because of stuff you came up with. So, I mean, it's incredible. Like, you're killing it, Colleen.
Hooray. Thank you so much.
I have you back down here, though, because I am very disorganized when it comes to the holiday season. And I say this as somebody who has yet to get his lights up, does not have the ornaments on the tree yet, has a 7-year-old walking around asking me, when are we going to do this and when are we going to do that? And I want to strangle him. But on the other hand, I feel like he's the last one that this really, like, he's 100% in. The other two are teenagers. They're kind of in. He's 100% in. So I want to make him happy, but I can't find hours in the day. So do you have anything that you tell people when they ask you about the holiday season specifically, like how to approach it?
Absolutely. So last week when I was down here recording my podcast episode, I mentioned that I had already decorated 4 houses. That was the first week of December.
People hire you to decorate houses.
Well, there was a lot of schlepping going on. So it wasn't necessarily like putting the tinsel or the lights on the tree, but I have a number of clients who from year to year, in January, I will be the one to put all the decor and lights and ornaments away.
Oh, these are rich people.
So, oh gosh, no.
Come on.
No. Some of them are a little older and can't really wrestle the Christmas tree up the stairs.
Oh, okay.
Honestly, if anybody was like recording that as a video, watching me wrestle the last Christmas tree up the stairs.
I hope you don't mind me saying this. You're a petite woman.
I am not a large person.
No,
but I am strong.
Right. I can't imagine you lifting a tree and carrying it up the stairs. Like, this is throwing me off.
So last Thursday when we recorded episode 2, I had logged 49 flights of stairs on my Apple Watch.
Wow.
49 flights of stairs. And that was really just, like I said, I have a couple clients who might be a little older, who can't really do the heavy lifting. I help them, organize the space throughout the year, maybe once a month or something like that. And so when it comes down to making that transition for the holidays, it's very easy for me to help them because I know where the things are in their homes. I've already helped them pare things down, and then I can bring everything upstairs and they can, do the rest while I'm gone, which is fine. And then come January, I will be the one to pack it all up again and put it back downstairs or in the crawl space or whatever. So we've, through that process, we end up paring down the decor items. So they're
Is that one of the big things, like telling people like you don't need to have everything you ever bought for Christmas out every year?
You do not need to have.
You won't be able to walk around your place. Because I find myself doing that.
Yes.
Like my wife brings out all the bins every year. Mm-hmm. And she starts putting things up. Mm-hmm. And every year there's stuff that's been accumulated because people give you holiday themed items. And then you're like, oh, I'll put this up in my house. But like, you don't have any more room. And so as she pulls stuff up, you know what she does? She goes, put this down in the basement. Yeah. And I'm like, the bar is only 9 feet. I mean, it's not 42 feet. I don't have the same bar in my place like that John Brand has at Open Outcry, big giant bar in there. Like, I don't have that. Like, I just have this. Where am I going to put all this stuff? So there's always stuff making its way down here, and it's the rejects. It's the island of misfit toys down here in the basement.
Your tree looks very festive, though. Right. I like it.
I believe this tree is like my apartment tree from when I was single. Gosh. I still have it.
Sure.
Like, that's what happens.
So our old Christmas tree is the one that's in the Brother Rice band room.
Really?
Yes. And it ended up being like a St. Patrick's Day tree. Like, they just didn't bother to take it down for a couple of years.
But you see what happened? You didn't throw it away. You gave it to somebody.
We did give it to somebody.
Right.
And it was still fine. It was just the lights. Like, we wanted a smaller profile. So my house is not a big house. I like my house. I love my house. But when we have, 12 people over for Christmas dinner and the Christmas tree in our small raised ranch in Evergreen Park, it gets a little tight. So we got a skinnier profiled tree a couple of years ago. Pre-lit, it just isn't as wide. So it fits a little bit better in the corner. And that was a conscious decision because we were tired of kind of trying to skirt around the tree. But then we gave the other one away.
So when you have people, because here's the thing, I know we've had you on the show before. Yeah. And you talk about, decluttering.
Absolutely.
For people.
Yes.
And you do it in their everyday lives.
Yes.
But with everyday decluttering, I think it's a little bit easier to tell somebody, do you really need this? Maybe you should throw this away. When it's Christmas, it's sentimental. It's grandma's. It's great-grandma's.
It is.
It's attached to some memory, even though it's been chipped 6 times. You used a magic marker to color in the spots that are screwed up. It's been super glued. The head's back on, whatever elf that you did. Like, it's missing half of the buttons on it if it was like something that your grandmother crocheted once. I mean, like, it's ridiculous, and people hold on to stuff.
They do.
So how do you get people over that hump?
So something that you asked a little earlier, and I want to circle back. So I'm going to answer 2 questions. So the first thing that we talked about was like me helping my clients bring things into their space, like bringing their containers in, down from the attic or in from the garage or up from the crawl space. So before we even do that, we make sure that the space is decluttered before we start bringing anything else in. Okay. So what I mean by that is, the easy and the simple are making sure that the newspapers are out and the magazines are in the recycling bin and that the garbage is taken out and that, everything is relatively clean. And then what I suggest is to take things down before we put up the Christmas stuff. So I have a couple clients who, there's a hook in the living room that holds a painting 11 months of the year. Well, the painting comes down and the wreath goes up. So instead of having two things on their wall during the holiday season, they use that same space for specifically Christmas and then specifically the rest of the year. So there's a lot of things like that. We personally, I take down some, family photos that are on the sofa table. I take those down completely. It's not like I'm going to forget those family members. But that's where the creche goes. So it's not like I'm trying to put this whole table, scene in the midst of all the other things that we already have up as well.
Right.
So,
our nativity scene sits on top of the fireplace, and everything that normally is up there is gone.
Yes.
It's put in the bin that the nativity scene was
exactly.
in.
So
and sent back downstairs.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So like I said, first things first is we try to, and the other thing too is I had a client who we hadn't put Thanksgiving stuff away. She has Thanksgiving dinner, and so she has some autumn, decor and stuff like that. And she's like, well, I don't want to put that away yet, but can you start taking out Christmas? And I said, no, absolutely not. So, Halloween and Thanksgiving have to go away before we start bringing out Christmas. So like I said, decluttering the space in general is definitely the first step. And then
got to get to the good part now. We throw out grandma's stuff grandma's been dead for a long time.
So you could see me
and
hesitating.
She doesn't care, but you feel like if you get rid of it, she's gonna haunt you. She's gonna know. She's gonna show up like Marley does with Scrooge, rattling her chains, asking why you threw out that knickknack.
Don't you love me
that
anymore?
Nutcracker that's missing an arm. Why did you throw that away? My papa gave that to me before we crossed the ocean to come to this country. Like, that's what you're afraid of, so you don't want to throw it away.
Now you're making me feel really guilty about this little snowman advent calendar.
If you've been injured at work, then you need someone who will fight for the care and compensation you deserve. The insurance companies will look out for themselves and their bottom lines, not you. I'm Matthew Coleman, partner and head of the work injury department at the law offices of Parenti and Norm. My team and I have the experience, dedication, and proven results it takes to fight for your rights. Call or text me today at 312-641-5926 or visit us on the web at pninjurylaw.com.
All right, Colleen, I think you're trying to stall me on what we're going to get rid of when it comes to family heirlooms in the Christmas bin.
So, okay, I got to come completely clean. It is the first week of December, and we have decor up. My tree won't be up until this weekend. Like, I just don't put it up. I'm not one of those put it up in October, take it down in February kind of person. I'm just not. I really love the look of it, but we don't have it up for months or, even like multiple weeks. So that's just me. Like I said, it's not a big house. I have my creche up. I have other decorations and things like that. And so what's really funny is you saw me totally hesitating when I started to get around to answering the okay.
You don't know how to do it either. You're a professional organizer. You don't know how to get rid of it.
So what we could do, what I recommend doing, so sometimes, it's too hard to just get rid of it completely. But what I will say is let's reshop. So let's look at the bins that are open in front of us and pick our 10 favorite things. Or, this year, how do you feel about having all of the nutcrackers on the mantle and, kind of having that like all together, and so that they're not everywhere else, but you have that kind of that impact, right? So you can appreciate the collection. Well, what that does is it means that not everything has to be out every year, because we do have too much. I have, a full set of 12 Christmas dishes that I got like 3 years ago from a loved one, and it's great. If I'm not hosting Christmas dinner, I am not bringing out the Christmas dishes. I'm
Right.
just not.
Right.
So yeah, we haven't even brought all of our stuff out. So doing it kind of like, what is the theme this year? And so it's not necessarily parting with things completely, except we can always part with things completely, and that's great. But maybe not everything has to go out every year. The other thing that's really helpful, because we do have things that we love, and that's great, is knowing, who, if there's some place that maybe I could donate them, or I could, share them or sell them. So sometimes
And I
we
pass
hold
these
off.
off to my children.
Well, I was going to get around to that one. So the other thing too that we can do as we get older, maybe we're downsizing. So we're going to move from a 4-bedroom house to a 2-bedroom condo. So what I often encourage my clients who are doing that sort of thing is to, write a note now about those antique nutcrackers and pass them on to the family members that are starting their Christmas, collecting their Christmas decor, or, sharing the ornament and telling the story or writing a note about it. So we can pass on those traditions.
You have the nicest way of, you're sharing, you're writing notes, you're passing on. I would just be like, give your junk to other people. Hey,
Well, you can
would you
try.
like my broken nutcracker?
Here's the
but it comes with a
thing.
nice note, and it was your Mima's, so you have to take it or she'll haunt you.
So here's the other part of it is you have to be okay with whatever they choose to do with it. And so they may, if you relinquish that,
It's gone.
you have to let go emotionally too of, I'm going to hand it off to this person. And now it really is their responsibility. I can't say, well, if you're going to get rid of it, just give it back to me. Nope. If I let it go, then it has to stay gone. But it is kind of a nice way to, keep the traditions. And maybe you pick somebody that would appreciate it because they are also interested in X, Y, or Z or something like that. So your kids are a little younger than mine. I have more grown adult people in my house. So, late teens, early 20s. And so they really are establishing their own homes. So when I take out my ornaments.
This is how you're organizing. You're giving your stuff away.
No.
Yeah, that's what you're doing.
There is no emotional baggage.
That's what you're doing.
No.
Yeah.
But what I did offer, I will say offer as opposed to dropping off a box at somebody's house.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what my parents did. I moved into my new house, and my dad showed up with 15 bins of stuff that he had been saving for me. And I was like, what am I going to do with this junk? And he just
Not
put it in
my
my
problem.
garage, and
Yep,
it sat
yep.
there forever.
Oh, that's so funny.
So before I let you go, Colleen
Yes.
Klimczak, professional organizer, the key today so far is give your Christmas junk to somebody else.
I did not
No,
say
that's not what you
that.
said. I'm just messing with you. But is the real key to being organized at Christmas, or whatever you're celebrating, your Hanukkah, your holiday?
Of course.
Is the real key what you do at the end of this season? Because I know that when every once in a while I'm ready to put up my lights.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll notice that past Chris did future Chris a big solid. Chris from 11 months ago, labeled everything.
Beautiful.
He didn't just throw the lights in a bin because he was having a bad day.
Mm-hmm.
I remember one year I actually marked the gutter where the lights start. And I stood up there and I actually had written myself a note to future Chris.
Yep.
From past Chris. You're welcome. And I laughed at my own thing that I had written 11 months earlier.
Mm-hmm.
That's how crazy I am. But that seems to be the key.
I love it. Absolutely.
Because you could take some of your tips right now.
Mm-hmm.
But in reality, how you pack it up at the end is going to really get you going next year as well.
Absolutely. So I have a couple thoughts on that one. We have what I call the first out, last in box. So it's kind of an accounting term, sort of. So like a last in, last out. But it's the box that comes out of the crawl space first. And then and so that's our creche and our advent calendar, or our advent calendar, advent wreath, a few twinkle lights, like some runners for the table. And that's stuff that all stays up until January 6th. So that box is the first one that comes out. And then it's also the last one that goes in. So everything is very well labeled. I can kind of, we have one that's just tree stuff and one that's just ornaments. And so, yeah, labeling it and making sure that you're not just tossing things in at the end of the season to try and give yourself, to do future you a favor. So, we have, we kind of do it in phases, but those phases have been established and they're well labeled. Absolutely. And then the other thing I do is I have a spreadsheet or a document that I just save from year to year. The first thing when I opened it up, like in, October or November, the first thing straight up at the very top of the form of the document was do not buy wrapping paper. It said, you have so much. I warned.
You warned yourself, like when that kid shows up with that fundraiser, don't buy a bunch of wrapping paper. You haven't thought of it.
Colleen did future Colleen same thing, did her a solid and said, no, you do not need to buy wrapping paper because you already have all that you need. So I'll leave myself notes like that from year to year too. Again, it's something we don't always get good at it because we only do it once a year. So we don't always get good at taking it out. And we don't always get good at putting it away. So anything that we can do to smooth those over is a good thing, and it's time well spent. It's an investment on future Chris.
And just a little side note here. If you get a note from past you and that note is just like a middle finger, you have problems with yourself, and you need to take care of those. Colleen Klimczak has a podcast called Your Organized Life. You can get it on her website or anywhere podcasts can be found. It is everywhere. It's on the Broadcast Basement On-Demand Radio Network. Peace of mind. I think it's cool every time that you talk to us. Give me the website one more time.
peaceofmindpo.com.
Awesome. Colleen, thanks so much for joining me.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm always happy to be down here.
Speaking of grandma, you might have one that's still alive that needs some help around the house. You may have a parent. Maybe yourself. You're avoiding assisted living. You don't need to get out of the home. Stay independent in the home. Use Hyatt Home Medical Equipment. They're right here in Evergreen Park. Big, beautiful showroom along 95th Street. They can set up the home like a smart home. They can reduce the risk of fall. They also have the latest in CPAP technology and diabetes control. There is no reason to jump on the internet and try to figure this stuff out without talking to a highly qualified person face to face. You can go to hhme.com and learn more about what they do. You can see that they're going to work with your insurance, and if you mention the EP podcast, they're going to take additional money off. But stop in and see them today. Get all your questions answered, get what you need, maybe find something you hadn't even thought of before. Hyatt Home Medical Equipment at 3518 West 95th Street. Packed show coming up next week. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss anything. The EP Madrigals are going to be performing down here at the 9-Foot Homemade Oak Bar. I got a big-time Evergreen Park chef coming in here. I also just ran in the village trustee, Mark Marzullo, over the weekend, told me people really enjoyed his discussion, his insight into the Evergreen Park Police Department. He got a lot of comments on that. You can get that episode and any episode of the EP podcast on demand, anywhere podcasts can be found, and always at the eppodcast.com. The name of the book in front of me is Pete the Cat's 12 Groovy Days of Christmas, and it's going to be brought to you by my son, Nicky Lanuti, 7 years old, who wants Army Guys, a Nintendo Switch, and an iPad.
And ship things.
And ship things?
Like tankers, cruise ships, other stuff like
Ships
that.
as well. All right. This list keeps getting longer. Read the book. Okay? Santa's going to be broke.
On the first day of Christmas, Pete gave to me a road trip to the sea. Groovy. On the second day of Christmas, Pete gave to me 2 fuzzy gloves and a road trip to the sea. Groovy.
So Pete is a cat.
Yes.
And he says groovy.
Yes.
That's his thing?
Yes.
All right, keep going.
On the third day of Christmas, Pete gave to me 3 yummy cupcakes, 2 fuzzy gloves, and a road trip to the sea.
This doesn't seem like it's the same song that I'm used to for the 12 days of Christmas. Are you doing all 12 of them?
Yes.
This is a half-hour show. You better hurry up.
On the fourth day of Christmas, Pete gave to me 4 far slippers, 3 yummy cupcakes, 2 fuzzy gloves, and a road trip to the sea. Groovy. On the 5th day of Christmas, Pete gave to me 5 onion rings.
Oh, that's funny. Is that funny?
4, 5, 2, 3, yummy cupcakes, 2 fuzzy gloves, and a road trip to the sea.
Groovy. We're just going to let him keep singing. He doesn't know that he's not on the microphone. Let's take a look at your EP podcast, Word on the Street, brought to you by Cool Clouds Vapor Shop. Quitting smoking is hard, and Cool Clouds wants to offer you an alternative. They got a full taster bar. They got great CBD products. They got a brand new location at 95th and Kedzie, 3148 West 95th Street to be exact. Go check out the new Digs. That's the same location right there where Spoken Vine is going. The new wine bar coming to Evergreen Park very soon. Learn more about Cool Clouds at coolcloudsvapor.com. This Saturday, the 17th of December, starting at 8:30 p.m., Chicks with Picks Trio at the American Legion in Evergreen Park. This is a good concert. Make sure you get over there and check it out. It's free, for crying out loud. 9701 South Kedzie Avenue. Chicks with Picks plays classic to current hits covering several different styles, mashups, melodies, dance, rock, pop, country. It's going to be a great show. Get over there this Saturday night. Remember that the Evergreen Park Fire Department at 9000 South Kedzie and Village Hall, 9418 South Kedzie, and also the Community Center at 3450 West 97th Street are all drop-off locations for the annual Chicagoland Motorcycle Parade Toys for Tots Toy Drive. Toys are collected until December the 20th. They must be new and unwrapped. Check out chicagolandtft.org for more. If you did not get your leaves picked up in front of your house, too late, they're going to be there all winter long. Leaf pickup's over. Moose out front should have told you. Like by now, realistically, you should have had it taken care of. I mean, I've been there. It's been mid-December over here before, and they're all still sitting on the lawn. So I feel your pain, but it is what it is. The Evergreen Park Fire Department has kicked off their annual Keep the Wreath Red campaign. A wreath with red lights is hung on the front of the fire station. The lights will change if somebody has a fire. Don't be the person that changes the lights or burns your house down. Be safe this holiday season. Residents will once again be able to recycle their string lights that are not working at Village Hall, 9418 South Kedzie, or the Community Center at 3450 West 97th Street. Look for the green recycling boxes provided by Waste Management. Lights are accepted all the way through January the 13th, so if you have a light issue like I normally do, we're halfway through the season, half the house goes out, you have to replace them, you can get those lights over there to recycle. As you walk in angrily, mutter, throw them in the bin, and go back to work. The EP Recreation Department is having a soccer program indoors right now. Ages 4 to 14, registration for indoor winter soccer season is open. $75 for residents, $85 for non-residents. For more information, contact the Rec Department at 708-229-3373. The Youth Department is hiring a youth assistant right now. The youth assistant will assist in supervising 5th through 12th grade students at the Youth Center. The Youth Department also has a list of certified babysitters available for EP residents. These babysitters have successfully completed the American Academy of Pediatrics babysitting course. If you need a babysitter, contact the Youth Department for more information at 708-229-3377. Otherwise, looking ahead to the calendar here, the last Village Board meeting of the year will be on December the 19th at 6:30 in the evening. Village Hall closes early on the 23rd at noon, and they're also closed on the 26th, the day after Christmas. I also want to tell you, I bumped into the folks over at sidsauce.net this weekend. They have a brand new hot sauce that's garlic, and it's one of their hottest ones they've ever come up with. My teenager put it on a chip, and he was like, really good, really hot. Bought a bottle for himself. The flavors keep expanding. The peppers grown in Evergreen Park. The hot sauce is created here. It's delivered to your door. Great stocking stuffers. Check it out at sidsauce.net. Meanwhile, I wonder if this kid is still singing. Hold on a second. Let me turn his microphone back on.
On the 11th
Are you
day of
still
Christmas,
singing?
Pete, give to me 11 balls a bouncing, 8 sloths asleeping, 9 ugly sweaters, 8 guitars strumming, 7 concert tickets, 6 skateboards rolling, 5 onion rings,
Groovy.
4 far surfboards, 3 yummy cupcakes, 2 fuzzy gloves, and a road trip to the sea. Groovy.
Oh, I had the groovy in the wrong spot. Last one. 12. 12th day
On the
of Christmas.
12th day of Christmas, P gave to me 12 friends all rockin'. 11 balls are bouncing, 10 sloths asleeping, 9 ugly sweaters, 8 guitars strumming, 7 concert tickets, 6 skateboards rolling, 5 onion rings, 4 4L surfboards, 3 yummy cupcakes, 2 fuzzy gloves, and a road trip to the sea. Groovy.
Excellent. You want to go get some onion rings?
Yeah.
Another show isn't wrapped up. Another show's in the books. Another show isn't wrapped up. And then by the looks, it's gonna be a good one. And we'll see you next week. And the nude is basement. And the nude is basement. Another show is wrapped up. Another show is wrapped up. Another show is wrapped up. And it's in the books. Another show is wrapped up. Another show is wrapped up. And by the looks, it's gonna be a good one. Nudie's Basement. Broadcast Basement. The Nudie's Basement. The Broad Basement. Slancha.
The EP Podcast. Heard everywhere podcasts can be found, and always at the eppodcast.com.